Mack Brown is definitely pleased with his Tar Heels as they start 2-0 for the fifth time in 6 years. But what did he say in this week's press conference for NC Central? Let's find out.
You don't want none!
What's going on, Tar Heel Nation? My name is Nathan. I am one half of your Heel Brothers. And welcome into Key Takes. This is where we dive into Mack Brown's press conference each week that he does every Monday and or Tuesday at the beginning of the game week there. So I know it's coming a little bit later than we normally do it. Typically I like to do it, the day after it comes out, but some scheduling things happened this week, and I apologize, but hey, we're still getting key takes in there. We're still knocking this thing out as North Carolina takes on the NC Central Eagles right here on Saturday at 6 p.m. kick. Can't wait. Been looking forward to it, and this has been a fun team to cover as well. Be sure and check out all the rest of the content coming out, the scouting report, preview and prediction, a couple of things that we got coming out as well as the week goes on and game week is prepared. But North Carolina takes on NC Central, and Mack Brown had some things to say as well. First off, I think this team and North Carolina are two very similar teams, both the new quarterbacks that are just kind of getting started, and also Mack Brown and Trey Oliver, the two head coaches, are good friends. As a matter of fact, Trey Oliver helped Carolina get Tez Walker in there, and he actually mentioned that in the press conference as well. But let's open it up with Mack Brown talking about how practice and getting practice and making sure each practice that Carolina has, keeping the grit and the intensity up.
Scores across the country are crazy. You're seeing more upsets than ever before. That just seems, when I sat in your position, I watched and I couldn't believe that you work year-round for 12 days, 12 Saturdays, and then you don't play hard. It makes absolutely no sense, but it's happening, and it's happening everywhere. And we've done it here some. And I say not play hard, maybe not play good with as much energy as you need to have. So that's why we're working so hard to have every practice with an edge.
Now, obviously, this is huge. If you don't believe me, go check out what happened to Notre Dame at home this past weekend against NIU. No matter who's on the schedule, you have to play with an edge each game. You got to treat them like they're the number one team in the country. We kind of talked about this last week in last week's Key Takes when Mack Brown gave out the state or the standard quote there. It's how we're going to play to the standard. This is what we're going to do. We're going to play to the standard North Carolina needs to play to, because we've won some games we probably shouldn't have won, but we've also lost some games that we definitely shouldn't have lost. So I think this is a great approach by Mack Brown. He started the press conference out with this, which I thought was great myself, and really reiterating the standard once again. Hey, we need to keep practicing with an edge. You can't be you practice on Tuesday with pads and not be ready for a Saturday game. There's just no way you could possibly do that. So you got to come into each practice ready to play hard, and then also carry that over to game day as well. Second thing talks about what happened a little bit this past weekend in Charlotte. He talks about how they played 75 guys and also some of the injuries they sustained.
In this ball game, we played 75 players, which is really, really helpful. It's great for morale. We've talked constantly about next man up. Well, it was obvious when Max got hurt that Connor was a starting quarterback immediately, and that was within 15 seconds. Hey, go. It's yours. So it happens fast. When Omarion came out Saturday, Darwin Barlow's down. Bullet, freshman, go play, man.
So playing 75 guys, that's awesome, because once again, they're helping to build that depth. It's 2 games now where I think they ended up playing 13 offensive linemen and 11 defensive linemen, rotated, I think, 9 safeties, young wide receivers got to play, young running backs got to play, Davion Goss being that guy, ended up with 105 yards, I think, and a touchdown in his debut ever. You got to see some of the guys, and also a guy like an offensive lineman like Zach Greenberg got to go, and a guy who was playing D3 last year got to get into this game. Unfortunate for the way that he had to, considering that there were some injuries, and we'll talk about in just a second. But they got to get some experience, some live game reps, and that's just going to help continue to build their experience that, if somehow something happens and some one of them are called to come in and play, they're not coming in greener than a pepper tree. They got a little bit of experience on them as they come into. But the unfortunate injuries that everybody sustained, Austin Blasky got hurt, Bryson Nesbitt got hurt, Aiden Banfield got hurt. Travion Green was pulled out at some point in time. Omarion Hampton got pulled out. You already come in the game without Kamen Rucker, Malachi Hamrick, and I believe there's one more, Darwin Barlow as well. But thankfully, none of them outside of Kamen Rucker is going to miss any substantial time, and Kamen will be out for, I think, about 2 weeks now at this point in time, now that you're past Charlotte. Right around the Duke game, I believe. Maybe if things don't go well, it'd be the week after. But probably that Duke game, you'll see Kamen Rucker come back, which is good because you get him back for ACC play more than likely. Next up, let's talk about some penalties, man. Some pre-snap penalties. Now, I was at the game this past weekend. If you didn't see it, be sure and go check out the UNC Charlotte blog that we had there. It was a good time. I really enjoyed myself, and I can't wait to see what game days are going to be like moving forward. But North Carolina, in my opinion, I've been to games, plenty of games. That was one of the longest flipping games I've ever attended. It was absolutely ridiculous. The pre-snap penalties were ridiculous, and North Carolina and Mack Brown have talked about all offseason. We've been working on that, and had ACC refs at the practices and everything else. So we're trying to figure out how this happened. He's, talking about how, North Carolina's second in the or top of the ACC in academics, and they're tied for third in the country for academics. We're a smart football team. We shouldn't be creating really stupid penalties because that's going to cost us in big games if we allow it to. So he covered that for a little bit, and let's see what he had to say.
We had too many pre-snap penalties. I don't know where those came from. We haven't had them. We haven't had them in preseason. We cut them all out, but we had a couple of penalties where we got ourselves in position where we put ourselves at 1st and 15 because of false starts. And then there were a couple of flags that were thrown that, as you look at it, they weren't penalties.
Number 4, this one's big because people were killing the defense. I said a few things about this myself, but it's something that we have to start to understand about this football team.
We got to clean up the explosive plays in the passing game, and they were great throws and great catches. And when people say, why don't you be aggressive? Why don't you get after the quarterback? Well, that puts your defensive backs one-on-one. So you got to be able to play the ball. And Marcus Allen made a couple of great plays. Elijah Huzzy's not giving up plays. They've hit us a couple of times at Star, so we've got to clean those up. But we're going to continue to be aggressive and continue to blitz and continue to stop the run, and we've just got to play the deep ball better.
Coming into this season, everybody wanted North Carolina to be more aggressive on defense. We've wanted it for 5 years, right? With the Gene Chizik days, bend, don't break. Let's stay back, keep everything in front of us. Don't let us beat us down the top, and let teams pick you apart. You wanted North Carolina to come in there on defense and just get after it, go for blitzes, try and get to the quarterback, wreak havoc. That's why you brought Jeff Collins in. And for so far, through 2 games, we have saw exactly that. More pressure's being applied. There's bringing guys from all over the place. The D-line's doing all kinds of different shifts and everything. And that is great. That's what we want, right? But as we saw with Charlotte, teams are taking shots on North Carolina in the DB room. And the reason being is because when you play aggressive like that, your corners and your safeties are gonna be stuck by themselves. They got to be the ones that go one-on-one with the guy. And sometimes a guy's gonna beat you. It's just going to happen. It happens to Georgia. It happens to Ohio State. It happens to Michigan. It happens to Texas. It happens to everybody. Eventually, you're going to get beat. But take it from here and get some experience on it, and let's start to build better habits of how to win those one-on-ones or create 50-50 balls where you have a chance to make the play. So I know North Carolina's defense has been aggressive. That's great, and that's what we're looking forward to. Just got to clean up DB play and try to get ourselves in position to win one-on-ones, because guys aren't throwing at 28. They're not throwing at Huzzy. They're going to throw at Marcus. Caleb Cost, I thought, was picked on in this game. So let them get a couple of games under their belt and let them, mature through this. And then maybe, the explosive plays, which I think were 8 in this past game, will start to dwindle down a little bit more. This last one I thought was just a fun one because I got to experience this at the Florida A&M game back a couple of seasons ago in North Carolina's home opener in, I believe it was 2022. But the NC Central team is going to be coming in. North Carolina's been trying to honor HBCUs. They did it a couple of years ago with Florida A&M. And one thing that they like to do is try to incorporate collaborations between the bands and the schools as much as possible. So this season, I actually didn't learn this until we got to the scouting report, but they're going to be doing a dual cookout for both fan bases. This isn't a game where it's, I'm here to cut your throat or anything else. There's not a rivalry. There's no heat between the two. It's going to be a football game, of course, but this is going to be time for, Central and UNC fans to be able to come together, have a good time, relax, chill out. But then on the field, they're going to be doing the bands are going to be playing together. And we saw this a couple years ago with the Marching 100. That's Florida A&M. And in North Carolina, they had a great time. This was fun. If you've never saw it, there are plenty of YouTube videos that people have put out over the years, so you guys can go back and go watch that. So something very similar is going to be happening there. There's honorary captains this year, and Carolina and Central are going to be having a good time collaborating, celebrating the HBCUs, and it's just going to be a really, really good time.
We're trying to honor HBCUs in-state. We honored HBCUs a couple of years ago with Florida A&M. It'll be very similar with the bands and all of the pregame and halftime hype.
Let me know what you guys got out of key takes. Is there something that Mack Brown talked about that maybe I didn't cover? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. And as always, go Heels.
You don't want none!
I'm good.